Alright folks, here we are back again, I kind of talked about it last time, but we kind of looked a little bit at this. It's the DVD collection, and yeah, we're just going to take a closer look at it. I think I've got everything back here now, so, yeah, right now, as I'm filming this, the light source itself is not very strong, so I'm not able to see, a couple of cords in the way. Not able to see everything very clearly, but I think I can enhance this in editing, so hopefully it comes out okay. But anyways, I've got them alphabetized here. It's kind of a weird way to alphabetize them because we have films like, actually we can pull this one out here, like The Big Sick, one I picked up from last year. Even though it starts with the, if it has more than one word after the, then I just go with whatever that first letter is in the first word after the. So we have films like, I don't know, let's go over here. Like The Revenant, though, since that's only The Revenant, I just stick it under T for the. Otherwise, well, that's just the way I alphabetize them. I don't know if that's a certain way. And then if you have films like, start with like A Christmas Story, you know, that doesn't apply though. So all the films, like all the Nightmare on Elm Street and, A Nightmare on Elm Street and A Christmas Story, those will be at the front. And then numeric titles like 12 Years a Slave, that goes before any of the alphabetized ones. So everything after that is just A, B, C, D, you know, so on and so forth. Like I said, then after, I think Zootopia is the last one I have here for movies. And then after that, they get into TV series and stuff. So not too many of those. You know, with stuff like Netflix around, it's kind of, maybe it's just me, but I find actually that the TV stuff on Netflix is what I watch more than movies. So so yeah, there's a couple of things here like that '70s show. It's a real budget buy, like cheap one, but I have those, but then I realized, oh wait, all of these are on Netflix, so I kind of quit on those. I just stopped at 2 or whatever. So yeah, we don't have to look, because you know, this would be quite a project. I mean, it's not, I mean, obviously there's bigger DVD and Blu-ray and stuff collections on YouTube, obviously, but I just, you know, wanted to show off a little bit. So we've got, yeah, it's everything, you know, like I said, the Nightmare on Elm Street, these are the four film favorites, which I have a couple more of these in the collection. I think I've got the Batman ones here. Let's see, because I've got, and by the way, up here, this is the Dark Knight. This was the one that came out. Let's see a little closer there. You can kind of see the emblem and everything. I think that was one of the first releases was that, and I actually have there. It came with another disc, and they just kind of stuck that in a sleeve. So I have that somewhere, but it's not with the movie there. Let's see, what else do I have here? This is the Back to the Future. It's DVD trilogy. Let's see, this is another kind of budget buy here, the Austin Powers trilogy. Let's see, what have I got here? This one's kind of fun. It's Anchorman 2, and it's the... we can kind of look at them back here. Yeah, it had the supersized R-rated... So there's actually 3 versions of the movie. There's the theatrical cut, the PG-13 cut. There's an extended cut. See if I can get this thing to stop autofocusing. Which I think runs it right about... Because the movie itself is like 1 hour and 50 or something. It's close to 2 hours. The extended cut is right at 2 hours, or a little over. The unrated cut, which is this 763, which basically, it keeps the same story, but it's like any joke in the movie, there's an alternate joke that they use in front of it or something. And that one is like 2.5 hours. So I think we sat down, we watched the unrated cut first. We didn't watch them back to back, because that would have been ridiculous. We watched the unrated. The unrated cut's fine. The 2.5 hour cut is almost unwatchable, for me at least. I just couldn't get into it. But that was kind of interesting. And then here, this is the first Anchorman. This is the uncut version. So that one, I think it's like maybe a minute longer than the original movie. So that's not much. We looked at this. This was the on VHS here, Airplane, but now it's the Don't Call Me Shirley edition. Which, for whatever reason, I tried this out once because there's like a whole bunch of bonus features here. I could not get the bonus features to load up. I don't know. It could have been just the DVD player I was using. It was an older one. It wasn't a Blu-ray like this. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but that was weird. I don't know. What else is kind of interesting up here? We've got this I actually won. A couple of things here we'll look at. This I won at college. My professor was liquidating his DVD supply, so he started handing these out. So I've never actually seen this one all the way through. I've always seen bits and pieces of it. Let's see here. Then I can get it put away. This one, I know I said I didn't have any a while ago on the Plagmanrules podcast, said I had no interest in seeing this, but I won this at trivia night, also at college, so I haven't watched it all. I got like halfway through and then I quit, but I'll keep watching it. This is an interesting one, the Blue Lagoon. I mean, this for me, it's Twilight time. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but this movie is like the ultimate guilty pleasure movie for me. Because the story is so bad, the acting is so horrendous. But at the same time, you've got like the cinematographer, who I think they credit on here. Didn't they? Yeah, Nestor Almendros, whoever he is. I mean, he was Academy Award nominated for his work on this movie, and it shows. This is a gorgeous-looking movie. And then Basil Poldoris did the score. The musical score to this is unbelievably beautiful. So I think there's actually, they credit on here, there's an isolated score track. So you can actually, and that's the way I prefer to watch this movie actually, it almost works better as a silent movie. Because the line delivery is just so terrible. I mean, still, you can't get rid of like the bad expressions on like Brooke Shields' face and stuff, or even Christopher Atkins' face doesn't look all that great. But it's like you can turn the sound off and you can just have the music on with subtitles or something, and I think the movie plays great. Then it's like a much better movie, but still, still as is. I mean, it's still, and this is like an actual like the restoration on this Blu-ray and everything. This is like a $50 Blu-ray, by the way. But it is money well spent because the movie looks great. Of course, you know, like I said, I like the movie more for its score and its cinematography than anything else. But yeah, if you want to spend $50 on a Blu-ray to have it look and sound amazing, then that's the one to do it. It's yeah. Otherwise, it's a film you can kind of, if I can even, God damn it. Okay, whatever. It's kind of sucks to have to do this with one hand because the rest of the Blu-rays don't like this one, evidently, for good reason. Okay, well, let's just see how long I struggle with this. Okay. I don't know what else here. I just got this one not too long ago, Call Me By Your Name. This is one, I think I mentioned it before on a couple of the other Oscar videos, but this is one, the first time I watched it, I thought the first half of it was so slow that I was like, I don't know if I can get into it. But then the second half really picks up, especially, like, I think I said it before, but when you get to that last, I don't know, half hour or 15 minutes, whatever it is, when they get to, what's his name there, Michael Stuhlbarg, when they get to his final speech and stuff, that's when that movie just turns on. That's, yeah. I think I said that's one of the best third acts of any movie I saw last year. So that's one to talk about there. Those are the Die Hard movies here. And what's weird is this cover, I remember when I got this one, I was like, why are those two covers like that? Because they're like, they have the sleeve and everything. But this one is as is, you know, it's like, no sleeve, has a different, you know, that's the release poster, I think. But it's actually like the same DVD and has the same bonus features and everything, so that's that one. Let's see, this is an interesting one. Another trivia night win. It's the double feature of Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. Still have not put this in, so I don't know if it's actually good quality or not, but it's from, was that Anchor Bay, I think? Yeah, Anchor Bay. I think I've got a couple other of those, but again, let's see how long I can struggle here. Okay, then Ex Machina, Fences, pretty good movies. Here's the Friday the 13th ones. Again, we have this one. I bought this from Amazon. It didn't come with the sleeve, so that kind of pissed me off for a minute. But then I'm like, well, it's the same bonus features and everything. Double feature of Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X. So I naturally, if they're part of the series, I'll just do that. Put them together. Let's see, what else here? Yeah, Get Out, Gone Girl. Two really good movies to go together there. Actually, that'd be an interesting double feature to see those two together. Let's see, then we got the Harry Potter movies. I did DVD, preferably the 2-disc, because like these were, let's see, because I think this one's broken, so we'll be careful here. But yep, see, it comes out. They used to have I think they did them for the first couple, and then they're like, yeah, we're not doing that. So they gave up and just did the traditional clasp at the end of it or whatever. This one I think is just single disc, but the rest of these are 2 disc, and then I got Blu-ray for Deathly Hallows 1 and 2, which you can barely see the lettering on. Yeah, for whatever reason, they're like, yeah, we can see what these are called, but when we get to the later ones, oh, we don't want to show what they're called. Nope. Let's see, Hidden Figures, that's a cool one. I think it's, yeah, it's got a different opening here. They wanted to show this off. Yeah, this was a good movie. I really liked it. Okay, I think I mentioned this last time, the 50 horror packs. Yeah, so this is, I mean, this is just total crap. Look at the way this is packaged. They just have different different ones here. So you got to fumble through them until you find the disc you want. Like I said, some of these don't even work. Like I put in, actually, let me put on the back here. Let's see where I can see this. Which one was it? The Brain That Wouldn't Die? No, oh wait, shit. These are alphabetical. Oh, damn it. Oh well. One of these, I put it in, it played for like 5 minutes, and then it said disc error, cannot continue, or something like that. Alright, Hunger Games movies. Back, I think that's I, Tonya back there, and then Indiana Jones trilogy, and then I stuck Crystal Skull in there just for the heck of it. And the bonus features, pretty good. Inglourious Basterds, one of my favorite, probably my favorite Tarantino film. Iron Man trilogy. This is the Jack Ryan box set. Again, it's kind of a budget thing, but it's that one's fine. It's actually got some pretty good bonus features on there. Okay, then we've got Bond 50, 50th anniversary of James Bond. So they had a space for Skyfall, because this came out before Skyfall, but they had an open slot there. And Spectre right next to it, because they didn't have that obviously yet. Jurassic Park trilogy, followed by Jurassic World, then King Kong. Let's see, this one first is just a version of the 33 Kong. This is the extended cut of King Kong. I watched part of it, but then 200 minutes or whatever. It was kind of long, so I gave up on it. Here's another one of the. This came with it, because this was a two for the price of one or whatever. So that one was with the horror classics, Legends of Horror, whatever. Okay, the 2 Lego movies that are out so far. Well, I didn't buy Lego Ninjago because who cares? Lethal Weapon 4-pack. This is a good one. It has actually these are the, as you'll see here, director's cut for the first 3. And then just the regular theatrical cut for the 4th one, because who cares about the 4th one? But yeah, I'm of the opinion. But I recently, by the way, rewatched the first Lethal Weapon on Netflix, and the theatrical cut is spectacular, but the director's cut for me is superior. Director's cut in that is great. So see the director's cut if you haven't seen that one yet. Okay, then we've got a few more here. I wanted to pull these 2 out here. So we've got the original, oh, there went that one. Lord of the Rings is the animated one from, I think, 78. This one is actually pretty good. I mean, obviously, and it actually ends at the same point that the Two Towers does, the live-action ones. This is just the theatrical 3-film. I'm actually in the process of watching the extended cuts just on a, well, I won't tell you how I'm watching them, but I'm watching them. And so far, I'm halfway through the theatrical cut of Two Towers, and it's fine. There's a couple, and I feel the same about Fellowship of the Ring, the extended cut. There's a couple extended scenes that kind of evolve the story a little bit, and that are nice bonuses, but there's other parts where I'm like, no, it just drags, and it's not fun. So, yeah. I feel, equally the same about Two Towers, but I'm not all the way through that one yet. Here's a Blu-ray of Magnolia. Really, I mean, probably my favorite of Paul Thomas Anderson's movies, but it's problematic. I mean, I don't know. Again, let's see how long I can fumble with these before I get it fucking back in the goddamn thing. Okay, then Manchester by the Sea, terrific movie. Mars Attacks. I had an obsession with this movie when I was like probably 10 or 11 years old, just because, I mean, look at that cast list. I mean, it's crazy how many people, and this isn't everybody, because Jack Black's in the movie, and Pam Grier, I think, and a few other ones that don't even make it on the cover. It's kind of like Infinity War, where it's just all these names. And what's great is they give Glenn Close the second billing, even though she dies like less than an hour into the movie, or something like that, pretty close to that. Okay. And then you got Men in Black 3, for whatever reason I had that on Blu-ray, which I like. For me, Men in Black 3 is probably the second best of that trilogy, and by a long ways, too. It's almost as good as the first one, but that's just my opinion. The Nice Guys, it's the Blu-ray. I like the private dicks. Nice. And this might be hard to see once we get in. We've got the Pirates of the Caribbean movies here, and Peanuts, and then the Pixar shorts. I think this was 07 or 08, so it's not all of them, obviously. But it's like the original ones, and so on and so forth. And then we've got the Planet of the Apes movies. This is the originals, the 60s and 70s ones. And then we've got... There, that one's easier to get in, because it's... Or maybe not. There we go. Then we got the newer trilogy here, Predator. Great movie. Then here, actually, one more of these bastards. Pure Terror. Yeah, I don't think I've even opened this one. Or it's open, but I haven't played any of the discs on it yet, so I don't know. I would assume that it's just like the other ones where most of them play, but some of them don't. Okay, we've got RoboCop. This is just the regular one-disc Blu-ray. But yeah, this one, this was actually one of the earlier Blu-rays I think I got. And the picture quality on it is really good. Yeah, I love Kurtwood Smith in it is fantastic. Can you fly, Bobby? Yeah, I need to watch that one again. I'm seeing, like, every once in a while a clip will come up on YouTube. I'm like, oh yeah, it's a great movie. Then here's Saturday Night Fever, which for whatever reason was Gene Siskel's one of his favorite movies. And then I watched it, and I'm like, yeah, I get why. And then I watched it once and it was fine. And then I watched it again and I just pulled up the soundtrack and everything. I'm like, good lord. And I agree. Yeah, this is one of the best movie soundtracks of all time. But I'm a Disco Bee Gees fan, so that's me. But anyways. And yeah, good bonus features on this too. It's like probably like 2 hours or 3 hours worth. So that one. And I like how it's the... If we can even... Hold on a minute. Let me play with this a little bit. Get the sleeve off. This is kind of a cool transparent sleeve. And you got the disco ball as the disc. It's pretty disc as disc, disco ball as disc. Yeah, whatever. Alright, that's that one. Again, let's see how much time. And here's the thing, I get them packed in there so that there's like no breathing space for these, by the way. Otherwise, like this whole thing would be full too, so oh well. Let's see, Silver Linings Playbook's a good one. Social Network, this is, no, it's backwards. I try to get them in the same way so you can pull them out and you can see what it is. This was one of the first Blu-rays I bought. Luckily, we had a PS3, or else I wouldn't have been able to watch it. So this was, yeah, right after the movie came out. Obviously, it's still, in my opinion, Social Network is the best movie so far this decade. It's, yeah, it's one that I think will be remembered for a long, long time. Spectacular Now, this is a great one. Blu-ray only, but it's weird, because this one I ordered online and it said Blu-ray plus DVD. It comes here and it's Blu-ray only. Either I looked at it wrong or they sent me the wrong damn thing. Whatever. Still, yeah, that's a great one. I remember I came out of that movie. I think I had the original review online too. But I remember I told my friends right after it came out. I said, guys, I said this movie, Spectacular. I said this is going to be remembered as the romance film of our generation. Hasn't quite come to pass, but hey, it's still remembered today. Some people still see it. So yeah. And then we got the Spider-Man trilogy. Wrong order. And Spider-Man Homecoming there. Spotlight's a good movie. Here's the Star Trek pack. It's the 6 movies, the original movies, and then the Captain's Summit. If you can even read that. Okay, that's a little better. Yeah, it's just a long, overdrawn conversation with William Shatner and what's his name, Patrick Stewart, and a few other captains and actors from the series. And then the newer Star Trek movies behind those. And then I'm missing it actually because I haven't lent out, but I do have the Star Wars Blu-ray collection. I think it's the 2012 or 2013 release, something like that. So, yeah, I have that, but that's loaned out. Somebody has that. So then we get the newer ones. Again, I don't know how well. Let's see if the cables get out of the way for a minute here. Newer ones, and then I do have Last Jedi here too. But I'm just putting these in order of release now, so yeah. Steve Jobs is a good one. Here's the Superman collection. This was, I remember when I bought it, it was like super duper cheap. It was like $15 for this, but yeah. This has a misprint. It is not a PG-13 movie. It's PG. It was originally released as PG. And then also this one, I think you can see here, has an isolated soundtrack score as well. It's just here, just John Williams. I mean, outside of the Star Wars and Close Encounters and a couple of those other ones, this is probably one of his best scores of all time. Jaws is pretty good too, even more than the main theme. The rest of the music in Jaws is really good. Not something that doesn't always get attention, so. Alright, let's see if I can get this. That's another thing, too, is this, for whatever reason, yeah, it doesn't want to always fit all the way. And then Superman Returns behind that, and I did not buy Man of Steel because, yep, nope, not doing it. Okay, one more to show down here, then we'll get to the other stuff here. This Texas Chainsaw Massacre 40th anniversary? Yeah, I'd say, because it just had the 40th. It's coming up on its 45th, actually, next year. Holy shit. By Toby Hooper passed away not too long ago, so. But yeah, this one, super duper cheap DVD, because it just totally is breakable like that. I think it's got, let me open it up here. I think it's got, oh yeah, they advertised this. A Blu-ray collection here would include the truck at the end of the movie that runs over, spoiler alert, one of the characters. And then you take the disc out here without breaking the damn disc because it feels super cheap. You get a nice little butt shot of one of the victims in the movie. But yeah, I like when discs do this. Maybe not this particular shot, because it makes you feel like a pervert for a minute. And there's, by the way, it came like this. I did not mess with this. I didn't fuck with the DVD or anything. But I like when they do this, when they put artwork on the inside of the cover. Even that's, you know, shows that they care about it. Okay, what do we got over here? Get into the movies, like the Godfather trilogy, which, yeah, for whatever reason, I like how they have the Coppola restoration. Coppola, you know, super duper proud of part 1, part 2, and then just part 3. Which is how that should go, by the way. Yeah, part 3. And I recently, because they put the oh my god. Okay, fuck it. They put the Godfather trilogy on Netflix recently. Let me see if I can, because this, I don't know why this fucking thing won't fit. Again, I'm just using one hand. Usually I'm used to 2 hands using this, but... Still won't go in. Okay, we're going to worry about that later. Okay, then we've got some more of the movies. The Thor trilogy. Again, I just picked this one up, 3 billboards. Yeah, people who don't like that movie are missing out. Universal Classics Collection. This is a very good disc set here. Actually, we're going to put this out on the bed here because this will actually be easier to sprawl out here. Plus, it's easier on my knees. So here they have a good booklet here. It kind of gives a inside look at the movies and also puts them in order, release order, which is very nice. Tells you about the stars, like Boris Karloff. And I'd say he should be coming up. And the directors, too, like James Whale, who's a very, very famous figure from these, of course. Where's the... Oh, here, yeah, I was about to say, here's where they put all of them in order, which is really nice, because a lot of these, what they'll do, like, let me pull up just the Frankenstein one here, for example. Okay, so they'll list, you know, the order of them, but the thing is, if you want to watch these movies in the order they were produced... and skip around, you have to go by this. Otherwise, I think they put them in this order, where it's Dracula first, because that was, you know, the very first one. So they'll have, yeah, the single disc of Dracula. And you zoom in, and it's like, oh, well, there's Dracula's daughter, Son of Dracula, House of Frankenstein, and all that. It's like, but those were, like, you know, 5-10 years later. You know, what about the first Frankenstein, which was out a few months after the first Dracula? So, yeah. again, if you want to go by the release order, you got to have this, or just look them up on the internet or whatever. But still, I mean, they did a great job with this, as far as like the quality of the movies and everything. Because obviously, these movies are, son of a bitch, they're getting close to 100 years old now. They're past 75, they're past 85 now, almost. Some of them are. Here's Wind River, very good movie. Recent one. It's a 2-disc edition of Wonder Woman. Again, yay for Warner Brothers, they finally got one right. Here's Young Frankenstein. This is I think this was one of the original editions of the DVD, too. Again, it's a little cracked up here, but I think it's... When was this listed? 2006. Okay, maybe this is like a second or third edition or whatever. But I've seen people who have the original cuts of this, and they, or some of the original DVD releases, and they look very, very similar to this style of cover and everything. You can't clasp the upper one here because it's totally busted. But I do love, they have, this is an alternate ending, by the way, on the back cover here, where they have just the whole cast come down the stairs in the castle. And I almost feel like, you know, obviously the movie as it ends, you know, doesn't really call for that. But yeah, great ending to that movie, though. An alternate ending, too. Okay, here, we mentioned this last time, too. It's the Batman's, let me get them in order here. This is the 60s Batman series, which by the way, I've not, this is a lot, so I haven't watched all of them yet, but... And I think that, yeah, that would be like an all-year project, because there's, what, 100 and something episodes, so... And each disc, I think, has... Oh, how many? Do they even list it here? Nope, I guess not. But I think they've got... Each disc has, like, and look at this. Season 2, they increased the number of episodes. Oh, here you can see on there, 1 through 8. So they fit 8 episodes on each of these discs. Maybe at the end they shorten it, but nope. Well, maybe, yeah, that's still 8. Anyways, but, yeah. It's like, it was a, you know, obviously it was a big, popular show, so. And again, you know, something you want to remind people of is the dark, gritty Batman from the 80s and stuff would never have existed if this 60s kind of, they call it campy, of course, but, yeah, the campy edition of Batman, if it never had come to fruition, then you would never have heard of Batman. Okay, this is weird. Why is... And plus, too, I hate this. Because, here, look at this. You can't... You have to be very careful with this, or else it won't, you know, come out right. But, okay, yeah, so for whatever reason, disc 4 is in the middle here. Disc 3 is over here. See, you gotta... this is like the only Blu-ray, or these are DVDs, sorry. This is the only DVD package, I think, that has it like this. I don't have any other ones that do this, thank God, but, so they have, yeah, disc 3, disc 4 bonus features, okay. Yeah, Batgirl, she passed away not too long ago, too, as did, so Burt Ward, I think, is the only one left from that series, because I think all the villains are dead, too, or most of them, like Frank Gorshin and Cesar Romero and Burgess Meredith. Again, oh, this is cool. They have the... Oh, what's their names? The creators of the show. Yeah, they have them on the back. But yeah, this... I mean, yeah, if you absolutely hate this series and you're a millennial or you're a younger person, I get it. But, you know, again, you have to be very mindful of the fact that if this had failed, Batman would have gone into the, you know, the netherworld of forgotten comic book characters. Okay, here's the Brady Bunch collection. These are all bought separately, by the way, but Season 1, Season 2, the dog got a hold of that, so that's why that's fucked up. Season 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, pretty cool. I mean, obviously it's a good show and everything. Again, you have to kind of have a different mindset when you watch it, though. Oh. That was close. I've not too long ago, started watching these Dark Shadows, which, by the way, the release of these is very, very odd. Okay, and this, by the way, just a little story here. This was on Netflix for a short period of time. It was right after the live-action Tim Burton movie came out, which, by the way, I saw that in the theater. I had no idea what this Dark Shadows series was. I'd never heard of it before. So I saw the Dark Shadows movie when it came out in 2012. had no idea that it was a series, or technically a soap opera, but whatever. Had no idea it was a series, and I happened to mention, because my grandmother was visiting at the time. She has dementia now, so she's, I don't even know if she remembers me anymore, but, kind of a sad note there. But I told her, I'm like, well, there's this, because she was asking me, what movies are coming out you want to see? And Avengers was coming out at that time, Men in Black 3, a couple movies I have here. And I was like, well, and then there's this other movie I'm kind of curious about. I said, it's called Dark Shadows, and it's the Tim Burton directed. And she knew who Tim Burton was. And she's like, oh, that's an old show. I'm like, you're kidding me. And I looked it up, and lo and behold, yep, here it is. From 66 to 71, 5 days a week for, every week of the year, minus maybe a couple holidays. Boom, there's an episode for Dark Shadows. So it's close to 1,250 episodes and stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, so, so at the time I was like, wow, that's a lot. And I was like, I didn't have really too much interest. And then I saw the movie. The movie I thought was fine when I watched it. Again, without the knowledge of, the whole series and the whole background of the whole saga of Dark Shadows from the 60s and 70s. I was like, it's a fine... And I was like... But I felt that there was... And I think that's what most of the reviews at the time said. I felt like there were chunks missing. It's like there were whole storylines missing for some of these characters. Because all of a sudden, one character, like the Helena Bonham Carter character, who's Grayson Hall in the original show... she goes, and that's the thing too. This original show, you'll have actors here like Joan Bennett and Louis Edmonds, Nancy Barrett, where they play the initial characters, but then there's like jumps in time, and all of a sudden they're back 200 years, or it's close to 200 years, whatever, like 175 years or whatever, and they're the same actors because they're the ancestors of these characters, the first characters you're introduced to. So that always throws you off. And it's fun, by the way, to go back, and that's actually, I'm up to, we don't have to pull all these out, obviously, but this is the most recent one I have, is Collection 6, and you're like, wait a minute, yeah. So we'll get back to this, but anyway, so then I saw the movie, I'm like, again, I was like, there's character lines that are totally missing here, and storylines that are missing, I don't really get this. But I was like, but I'm kind of curious, so then I looked up a little bit of info, watched a couple of clips on YouTube or whatever. Actually, I found the blooper reel on YouTube. That's great. It's like, and that's the thing. It's like, this show, when they produced it, it was, there's a phrase for it. I'm trying to think of it now. It was live to tape, I think is what they called it, where they filmed it pretty much in-camera editing is what they did, with the exception of when they have a special effect that they have to do and stuff like that. What they would do is they would have 2 or 3 cameras. They would cut, to the different cameras or whatever when they're editing it, the same day or whatever. Or, however they worked it. I don't know how the editing quite worked on that. But they would just cut between those. They would run through it once because they had to use... It was weird because this was back when ABC was super cheap. And they weren't the big, owned by Disney and everything today where they have pretty much nonstop, money's no option today for ABC. Whereas back then... ABC was, they had a couple of hit shows. Everything else was, super, super cheap. And they didn't have any money to spend. So, they just had to do the whole thing, the whole episode practically, one shot, one take, unless somebody totally biffed it. If somebody totally messed up and they started laughing or they broke character or something, they would stop, the director would yell at them, they'd start again. And, because they had each episode's like 20 minutes or so, or roughly that. Sometimes a little longer, sometimes a little shorter. And they would have like half an hour to film it. And if they didn't get it filmed in half an hour, then the news crew, which the news people for, I think it was ABC News back then in the 60s and 70s, they would come in and they would say, we need your cameras, or we need your film, or whatever it was. And you need to stop. We need them now to get the news done, because the news would be produced, the same day. Whereas this would be shot, I think they started shooting them like 2 weeks ahead of time. So if they absolutely, absolutely needed to, if something went drastically, drastically wrong, and they needed to, after hours start working on another episode or go back and complete an episode, they could do it. But it would be super expensive because they'd have to find another camera or, whatever it was, because the news would already have their cameras by the time shooting was done, or they'd have to go in early and hope that, the show before them got done early, or whatever, however it worked. But there's, Yeah, there's a few horror stories with that too, by the way, of just total catastrophes. Plus, I think they burned down a couple of the sets because they thought they were done with them, but they needed them and they needed to quickly reconstruct. I think that happened. I think it's sometime in here. Okay, but anyway, so then I watched the Netflix on Netflix. They had it started with episode 2. Actually, hang on, let me just pull up to make sure I get this right here because it's super weird how they did this. 210, starting with episode 210, they had this on Netflix, and it was actually, and I looked on Netflix, I was like, this is weird, because they said Collection 1, 2, 3, and 4 on Netflix, when this was on Netflix for like a couple months. And this is back in like 2012, 2013, so I doubt it's on Netflix again. But they had these episodes, so that's Collection 1, and Collection 2, Collection 3, Collection 4, and it starts with the Barnabas storyline, where they introduce the character of Barnabas Collins. That's him right there. Jonathan Frid, by the way. And yeah, they start with him, and they just go through his whole storyline. But I was like, this is weird. I'm like, why does it say 210? Why, what is going on here? So then I did some further investigating. As it turns out, this is episode 1, right here, 1 through 35 on this collection. The beginning collection. That's right. Collection 1, I'm sure people have fallen into this trap before. But Collection 1 of Dark Shadows, if you ever buy it, Collection 1, if it just says Collection 1, you're starting at episode 210 with the character of Barnabas Collins in his introduction. If you want to start from the very beginning, from episode 1, and see the whole series that way, which is what I'm attempting to do, it'll probably take me another decade, but I'll get there. You got to start with the beginning collection, volume 1, and it goes up to number 6, and then after that, then it's just 1, and then I think they go up to like 30 something. Because like I said, they were 5 days a week. It's a soap opera, so yeah. Okay, so that's all that. So that took forever. Okay, then we've got Family Guy again. This is all on Netflix, and as far as I know, at one point I saw it was going to get taken off Netflix, but it's still there, so I don't know. Maybe they pulled a couple of seasons, but this is just seasons 1 and 2. And I bought this separate. It's the first of the Star Wars knockoffs. They're very funny. I Dream of Jeannie, season 1. Had no idea. I don't know. Just got a hankering for that one time. Then a couple of Jeff Dunham specials. MASH season 1. Again, this was on Netflix right about the time I got this, and then they pulled it off right away. Okay, this it's backwards, but oh my lord. Okay, I think this whole series is on YouTube, by the way, so I don't need to continue to buy this. But this is just beautiful. If you have never, I cannot do this justice just in this little DVD collection video, so I'll just say, YouTube this, watch as much of this as you can. This is an all-time classic. That's all I'll say. It is one of the funniest fucking things you will ever see in your life. It is, like I said, I can't do it justice. And we've got Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. I don't have the Christmas one for whatever reason. Okay, then we've got some Scooby-Doo stuff here. I've lost the cover to the first Scooby-Doo Where Are You? And this is seasons 1 and 2. Then we have the new Scooby-Doo movies. This is just a best of, so it's not the complete series, which is really fucking annoying, but for whatever reason they don't have for available a couple other ones because of copyright. This is not true. This is actually the Scooby-Doo show, I believe. I think that's how it is. And again, as far as I know, this is not the complete Scooby-Doo show. This is just a couple of episodes from it. And you can see it's really thin there. And this is on the new Scooby-Doo movie, so that's just, whatever. Oh, I missed this. Oh, these were so good. This is so much better than that crappy CG animated Clone Wars show. Like I said, that 70s show, a couple of crappy ones there. Well, crappy discs. The show was amazing, of course, but... here's the Munsters, the first season. Terrific show. We miss everybody from that show. I think all but a couple of them are dead. And then here's the Three Stooges collection. So this is chronological order. So, yeah. I think it goes, 34, 35, 36, and then 37 through 39 over here. And Disorder in the Court is, I think, the first one I ever saw, and that's an all-time classic. Matter of fact, I think that's... Isn't that a clip from Disorder in the Court right there? Nope, that's a different one. Never mind. But yeah, and then Punch Drunks is a great one. What other ones have I seen here that goes really, really well? Yeah, a couple of these still hold up as a very, very, very funny skit show, of course. Or show, whatever. You get what I mean. Short films. All right. Well, that's everything. Yeah, I don't have much else to say here. Just kind of glance over it one more time. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of good stuff in here. Some bad stuff, but it's, yeah, once again, The Godfather wouldn't goddamn go back in the stupid slot there. Yeah, all right. We'll work on that next time. All right, well, that's going to do it for the DVD collection. Thanks for watching.